All right, recording is started. So for the rest of the evening, as we go through our slides, please in the chat, ask any questions that you have or save them till the end, and we'll make sure that we have a time at the end to go over any questions that weren't answered or that you were saving for the end. Um, all right, next slide, Maya. Uh, Pronouns, beautiful. We'll do, yep, pronouns, name, returning, and new or returning. All right, next. Tonight, you'll be hearing from a few different people. You'll be hearing from myself. You'll be hearing from our new event director, said Gloria. You'll also hear from our amazing paddle team leaders who you'll get to know throughout the season through our different paddles and also at our paddle team training. So they are on call. We have Laura, Vlad, Terrence, Ed, and Zora. Um, Throughout the season, if you have any questions about paddling, what our events look like, you're welcome to talk to them. If you need more tips and tricks, they're always gonna be available to answer questions. Um, and then you have Seth and I for any questions throughout the season. If you have any concerns throughout the season, anything that you need to come to, please let us know. All right. With that being said, we're going to start the rest of our webinar with our slides. As you can see, the agenda shows all the different amazing things we're going to be talking about. Next up, we have Zora talking about the Columbia Slough's mission, our staff, and history.
Hello, everyone. And forgive for my voice. I think the allergies are hitting me. Good seeing you. I see some familiar faces and welcome everybody who's new. It's always great to see new folks enjoying the slough. So how long does the Columbia Slough Watershed Council has been working? It was founded in 1994 and mostly to address water pollution in the Columbia Slough, which is an urban waterway in north and northeast Portland, Gresham, and Fairview in Multnomah County. And as a result of the relentless council advocacy, combined sewer overflows were successfully eliminated from the slough in 2000, and the water quality has steadily improved since then. Um, and it has also increased, a lot the environmental health, the benefit that benefits fish, wildlife, and people. I know a lot of people see the slough as sturdy, but it has actually improved a lot.
I lost the screen when I put my name in. Sorry.
You're good. The mission of the council is to protect and enhance the Columbia Slough and its watershed for the benefit of fish, wildlife, and the people who work, play, and live here. The council is a diverse group of neighbors, property owners, businesses, environmental groups, recreation advocates, and government agencies who work to restore and enhance the 60 miles of waterway known as the Columbia Slough. So the Columbia Slough itself is 19 miles, and the rest of the miles are all tributaries and side sloughs, which is really awesome. And hopefully you're going to explore a lot of those. The council staff is made out of 6 employees, and then starting in June, they also have some interns. As the interns will work a lot on events, you will get a chance to meet and work with them. The council has 3 main areas. It is education, stewardship, and community events, which you will see a lot, and you will learn a lot more in the upcoming slides. And I'm turning it to Laura.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Laura. I started off as a paddle team volunteer and then became a paddle team leader. Altogether with the slough, 5 years volunteering, and it's just amazing. It's such a great time, and it's so much fun. So I'm excited that you guys are all here. On this slide, we can see all the different watersheds that are all around us here in the Portland metro area. And Columbia Slough watershed is highlighted in yellow. We can go on the next slide. The Columbia Slough watershed is an extremely diverse area that has 60 miles of lakes, wetlands, and slow-moving channels, 19 miles of main channel today, 32,700 acres of land in Multnomah County. That includes Portland, Fairview, Gresham, Wood Village, and Maywood Park. Also has the Port of Portland, which has 2 airports, 4 marine terminals, 3 major interstates, I-5, I-84, I-205, over 40 schools, and 5 golf courses. Next slide. So the socioeconomic vulnerability is very hard to calculate. However, with combined data that Knott Studios identified from surveys from the U.S. Census Bureau and EPA's 2020 Air Talk Screen data set shows areas of vulnerability within the watershed. This graph that we have shows a 25-acre hexagon data between 2020 and 22. The purple indicates the most concerning areas where vulnerability of environmental hazards and adaptive capacity intersect. The intersection combines areas that are represented by the red and blue hexagons, and this includes people that have disabilities, people in poverty, cost burden renters, people without health care or no vehicle, people that live in limited English households. It also includes a likelihood of extreme heat in urban heat islands and proximity to surface soil-based toxins from brownfields and Superfund sites, as well as a lack of access to nature. So as you can see, it's has over 4,000 businesses, 170 residents, and that includes 10% Hispanic Latinx, 10% Black or African American, 10% Asian descent, and 3 to 4 American Indian or Alaskan Native. So as you can see, the Columbia Slough is an extremely diverse watershed, full of community and industry. And now I'm going to pass it over to Liz.
Thank you. Next up, we're going to be talking about our different program areas. So first one we have is our SLU School program. Our SLU School program is led by Jennifer Starkey, our education director. We provide free K through 12 in-class and field trip lessons, prioritizing schools that receive Title I funding. Of the students we work with, 88% qualify for free lunch and 69% are students of color. On average, we deliver over 300 free programs annually between the different classroom lessons, field trips, and paddles. We make sure to support learning about habitats, the ecosystem, water chemistry, soils, the environmental justice, local history, and a lot more. And most of the time, it's just getting outside, making sure the students have a fun and safe experience getting outside, because most of them might not even go to their local parks or their local natural areas. We just, yeah, want to continue to make sure our students are safe, have a positive experience in nature near their homes, schools, and have a hands-on learning opportunity. Next up, we will talk about our stewardship program. This work has been led by different stewardship directors over the last 8 years. However, this position is currently not filled, and in the future, we'll be in the process of hiring a new director. So keep your eye out if you want a job is opening up. Our stewardship program undertakes habitat restoration and enhancement projects throughout the watershed, ranging from traditional habitat work like repairing restoration to green forest work development with youth of color and students looking for jobs within the green job sector. Um, just trying to make sure we create a greener watershed when we're surrounded by a lot of industry. And we are making sure to mitigate efforts that industry has caused to our local watershed as well as adapting to the climate change that is occurring throughout our city and the whole world. And it is an amazing program. We also do Stewardship Saturdays, which just finished last Saturday. We had our last one of the season. These are in partnership with Portland Parks and Rec. Next up, I'll pass it to Sed to talk about our community events.
Sweet. Thanks, Liz. Hi, everybody. My name is Cedrian Gloria, pronouns he, him. I go by Ced to make it easy. I'm the event director with Columbia Slough Watershed Council. I was brought on, we'll say February. So I've been around for a short time, but I already feel as if I'm learning a lot from, the volunteers, the long-term volunteers, the employees that have been here for a long time. It's a great organization, really special to be working with the slough. But yeah, I'll talk about this. Our community events. Our community engagement and event program provides fun and innovative ways to form meaningful connections between communities. Form connections between communities and the slough. We do that through a wide range of events. So we do forest bathing and mindfulness events. We do bird walks, nature walks, shade equity walks. We also do kind of, a wide variety of things. There's a lot of freedom I'm learning, so yes, we do birding, but we can also do bike and birding. Yes, we do paddling. We can do paddle cleanups. We can, do paddle and birding. There's a lot of different avenues that these programs can take. But why you all are here, we're here for paddles. And maybe at some point, you'll participate and join in with a birding and paddle or paddle cleanup or maybe another part of our program. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at with community events. I am passing the mic to Terrence, and then you'll hear from me soon enough. Thanks.
Thanks, Ted. Hey, my name's Terrence Conlon. I've been involved with the slough since it started. Well, not since it started, probably 1997. But I've been with the paddle team for the last 5 to 10 years. And before I start talking about this, I really wanted to share why I do this. I really like being on the water. I love the fact there's this urban, often hidden but accessible, navigable gem of the Columbia Slough that's so close to where I live. And the paddle team makes it a great way for me to share that love with all the other folks that come into the watershed. So it's a really fun place to be, and it's a fun group to be with. So we have two main events here. We have community paddles. These are open to all, and they're posted on the website. People can sign up for it pretty easily. Some of the examples, we have birding paddles, sunset paddles, pride paddles, and there's many more. I'll be talking a little more about the type in the next slide. We also have partner paddles, and these are co-hosted by another organization. And some of these are on the website and open to the public, but many are for that organization only. So some are private. And they're hosted by the Watershed Slough Council, but they're also in cooperation with some of the partners. You can see here, People of Color Outdoors, otherwise known as POCO, Bird Hers, Portland Parks and Rec, Black Men's Wellness, Slavic Community Center, thanks to Vlad and Laura, Verdi, Mosquito Fleet, and Feminist Bird Club, and there's even more. Next slide. So some of these paddles are multilingual paddles. These are typically with Spanish, Ukrainian, and Russian speakers. if a paddle team member serves as a translator on these type of paddles, they could be eligible for a stipend that the council offers. This is a fascinating way to meet community people from other countries. These are hosted throughout the year, and we have many paddles with these groups. Another one is trash cleanup paddles. There's a large one called the Great Slough Cleanup, but there's also 4 or 5 other ones that happen that are a little smaller through the year. And this is a great way to improve the slough and meet other people who from the slough community that have similar interests in keeping it clean. And finally, we have the slough school paddles, and they're often done at the end of the school year, May and June, but there can be at other times too. And these are really fun events. They're to lead these, you get to bring kids onto the slough and experience their excitement when they get to be on the slough for the first time. So it's a pretty cool time. For these paddles, we have various roles that you can do. Some are on the water and some are land-based. The ones on the water is mainly being a captain in these bimarans, and you can see a picture of one in the slide. It's 2 canoes slashed together. This particular canoe is part of the cleanup, but when we don't have a cleanup, we've got seating for up to 12 people in one bimaran. So as a paddle team member, you can be a captain of these bimarans. You can be in the lead, you could be the sweep, or you can be in the middle. And your job is to escort folks around and share your knowledge of the slough with them. Some of the land-based roles are check-in for the participants, set up, and importantly, the takedown of the event, which includes taking down tables, supplies, the paddles, the life jackets, and obviously the canoes. And you'll hear more about this in this presentation and in the formal training on the water. Next slide, please. So we're going to be starting our first paddle on the 19th of May. We've got lots of returning partners. As you can see, the People of Color Outdoors, Birdhers, Verdi, Slavic Community Center. And here's a list of some of the new partners that we have. We're always looking for other organizations that want to partner with the Watershed Council. So if you know of one, feel free to reach out to Sed or Liz. So at this point, we have 17 paddles on the website, but these are only the ones through early June. So we'll expect to have more paddles added for that period to June, and then we'll have a bunch more added for the rest of the summer and early fall. This goes through about October. Some are during the weekdays, so if you work, that might be more difficult, but some are in the evening, so you can make those, and we have a lot on the weekends. So please join this and come out. Next slide. And I think we're back to maybe Sed or no, Ed.
Ed, I believe you are muted.
Yes, thank you. Did anyone have me picked in the pool for who would be muted inappropriately? Well, hello everyone. My name's Ed Rosny. I'm been with the paddle team this is my 4th season. It's my 3rd serving as one of our paddle team leaders, and it's a pleasure to welcome you all to the paddle team. I'm looking forward to meeting you all in person. I've found being part of the paddle team to be a very positive experience, and I think you will too. Being part of the paddle team means you're part of a special community, connected with each other, but also dedicated to connecting people to nature. And as Terrence mentioned, we work with a number of partner organizations. So you're not only going to get connected to your other paddle team volunteers and get connected to the Columbia Slough Watershed Council staff. You'll get connected to folks from other groups, a very diverse group of folks. So it's there's a lot to learn and a lot to uh, benefit from as you're part of this effort. One of the things I've enjoyed is getting to know the staff at the council. I often refer to them as practical idealists. It's folks who are, a generation or two or three younger than me, who are really dedicated to creating a great environment, and also very dedicated to making sure that we share that environment with people who maybe historically have not been part of outdoor activities. So it's a really inspiring group to be part of. And we're glad that you're all going to add your experiences and voices to this. Some other things that I've found that are nice about being part of the paddle team is you get to learn about the history of the slough, and you also get to learn quite a bit about the science of the slough. All in all, I think you'll have lots of rewarding experiences. One of the things that we do as members of the paddle team is we serve as ambassadors, and by that means you'll be sort of serving as a face and a voice of the council. You'll help people learn about the council's activities and how they can become involved, because we are always trying to bring more people in and benefit from their abilities and their desire to connect people with nature. As being an ambassador, a couple of things that we want to do. We want to set a really good example in terms of safety, because that's the most important part when we're taking folks out on the water. And we also want to set a good example by communicating with respectful and inclusive language. Let's see, we can go to the next slide at this point. And some of this we covered. I think Terrence touched on some of this. Basically, some of the nuts and bolts duties where we set up events. A lot of this is teamwork. You saw the photos of the Bimarans. There's a process we go through as we lead into an event where we take the boats and get them on the dock and connect them with a series of boards and straps. There will also be times when we're helping to check in people at events. We do give some basic paddling instruction. We also take a lead role in paddling the boats. You've heard the term tonight about captain and co-captain, and that is usually experienced volunteers that will take the main role in navigating the boat and getting everyone sort of settled into their various roles. At the end of the event, we clean up the event, put everything back, and then another valuable role you can fill is to provide feedback on how the event went. I did want to, before I end, just have some reassurances, especially those of you who are brand new to this. I know when I first joined this a few years ago, I wasn't quite sure what I'd be getting into and wasn't quite sure I had enough skill or knowledge to deal with it. And I learned that there's a great team of people here who are going to support us, and you're always going to have experienced people around you, whether it's paddlers, such as Zora and Terrence and others. But you also have Lizzie works many of these events. We'll see Sid at these events. So you don't have to feel that you're getting into something that you won't be supported. I also want to let you know you don't need to be an expert paddler to do this duty. We really just have a couple of basic strokes, and there are experienced people that can help you understand what those are. You also don't need to be an expert about the Columbia Slough, but you will learn a lot as you participate in these events. You'll learn more and more about the slough, and you'll also, I think, become a better paddler by taking part in these activities. I'm going to want to conclude with just a mention of a story. One of the things that you'll be able to do as part of the paddle team is you're in a position to create a memorable experience for people. And one that comes to mind is helped a couple of years ago. We had a slough school paddle at Kelly Point Park. And it's not unusual. We have some students who have never been in a boat before. And so we had a student, that was the case in his instance. He was very, very nervous, like scared, wasn't sure at all that he wanted to take part in this. But we worked together as a team, and between, ourselves and some of the adult chaperones, we were able to get him into the boat, got him a little bit comfortable. Within a few minutes, got into the rhythm of paddling the slough. For people that haven't experienced that, it's a wonderful first experience. You go from a noisy urban environment to suddenly you're on this really peaceful water, and you're moving the boat along with your classmates. So as we were about to pull into the back to the put-in area, unprovoked, he just announced to the rest of the boat, "This was the best field trip ever." And to see that change from about an hour ago when he was really not wanting to get in the boat to where he had completely embraced it, uh, that to me showed the value of what we do and the joy of what we can get out of this. And I hope that you get to experience something like that. And we can go on to the next folks, Liz.
All right, I think because we're doing so well on time, um I will suggest we take just a 2 minute break, and then we'll come back. So if you 2 to 5 minutes, if you need a restroom break or whatever, I know it was just 30 minutes ago basically that we got started. But I'm gonna grab a drink of water.
Liz, what time do you want us back here? Six
Um
35? What time do you think?
6:35, yes.
Cool.
A nice little break. I got some water for myself, which is important. Hopefully, everyone got some water themselves or did what they need for a moment. Maybe stretched your legs, moved your body around just a little bit. That's always nice to do. Um, wait, think we are just about good, and we can continue moving on with our next slide, and Vlad will be taking it on.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vlad. I've been with Columbia Slough for 5 years. Started as a volunteer, and I'm a paddle team leader. And we are bringing back the big in-person paddle team training May 3rd. This will be required for anyone that is new to the paddle team or is returning from 2024 or other paddle seasons. We will be doing station rotations like we have in previous years. In the registration, which is a link, is being dropped in the chat to sign up. So if you haven't already, we have 3 groups options to pick from: Slavic volunteer, who need translation support, new volunteers, and volunteers who are returning. Training will cover how to load and unload the trailers of canoes, where gear is stored, and how we pack, put away for events, communication with walkies, fitting people in life jackets, how to load into and unload boats at the dock, how to set up the boats and gear by the boat launches, um, basic paddle strokes, and leading groups on the water. This year, we're continuing to implement buddy shifts for new volunteers who aren't able to do in-person training, or for people who prefer a one-on-one experience. Volunteers can head over to our event calendar. A link will be dropped in the chat and sign up for a buddy shift. We'll have a multiple option for May and June. During the buddy shift, you'll be paired with the paddle team leader or staff person who will show you how to set up, how to lead groups, how to paddle, and how to clean up after an event. Buddy shifts are approximately 4.5 hours and will be held during an actual event. So new volunteers will get a great snapshot into how this all works and also get to connect with community during the volunteer shift. And I'll pass it on to Sid.
Sweet. Hi again, everybody. I think you will be with me for a few slides here. But before I dive into our equity vision statement, I also just want to say that I'm new to paddling. I've never done it as a professional or in a professional setting. My partner and I have an inflatable kayak, and we go out a handful of times a year. I had an amazing time with a paddle team volunteer leaders about a couple weeks ago. Liz and them took me out to do a training. They trained me, and it was just such a great time. So I just wanted to mention that. Like they gave me all the information. They taught me, just communications and, lifting and working together. And then we got on the water for a little bit, and it's just special. Like I think Ed was saying, when you're on the water, you go from like a noisy environment or thinking you're in an industrial area, but then you enter into the water and it's like you're out in the forest somewhere, in the rivers or somewhere. So such a special time. But I just wanted to throw that in there. All right, let's start equity vision statement. Before I read this statement to you all, I just want to start something else. We as an environmental organization recognize our country's long history of racism has served to disenfranchise Black, Indigenous, and people of color in our communities. We recognize that in the Columbia Slough watershed, systemic racism policies and practices have put BIPOC community members at a disproportionately higher risk to environmental pollution, natural hazards, and climate change impacts. These practices have also set up unique barriers for the BIPOC community members to safely enjoy local natural spaces and outdoor recreation. We can go to the next slide. As an organization, so I'm just going to read what that previous slide said, but just wanted to show you all a little bit of a different setting. As an organization, we believe that everyone deserves to experience the solace of time in nature and to not be burdened by any unhealthy environment. We believe that the Columbia Slough is for everyone, and as an organization, we pledge to make that a reality. We value the rich diversity of the communities in our watershed and are committed to learning from one another through collaborative engagement with community members and our partners. And I think we can go to the next slide. They said y'all be with me for a little bit. We're going to touch on inclusive language, and microaggressions will follow this. In line with creating safe spaces and making everyone feel welcome, we want to go over the importance of inclusive language and provide examples of what that looks like. We want to try to avoid gendered or exclusive terms. We are going to try using community members, participants, folks, using these terms instead of hey guys or hey ladies or gentlemen. Not everyone identifies as male or female. We also want to use people preferred gender pronouns. Like we all did here, introducing ourselves. We can use she, her, he, him, they, them. Some folks go by she, they, he, they, or some folks even have other pronouns that aren't listed here. Maybe they're in Spanish or a different language for a pronoun. So we do our best to respect that. Another example is also women versus girls. For anyone over 18 years old, let's use women if they identify as women. Just a little bit more respect there. We want to ensure that we are addressing people with the pronoun that they identify with. All individuals want and need to be correctly identified. It is important that we as a community model the correct usage of gender and gender pronouns. Our goal is to create a safe and welcoming environment in which we can all explore the Columbia Slough, attend our events, volunteer, and engage with the organization, however that means. To sum it up, we just want our community members to feel a sense of belonging and inclusion. And we can go to the next slide, please. This is just another example of, or kind of what I was speaking of, inclusive language. Folks, friends, y'all. I am a Hispanic male and I use y'all. I never thought I'd be doing that, but I use it for to be correct or to do my best. We can go to the next slide from here again. All right. Before we play this video, I'll maybe defer to Liz if we're going to play the whole thing. I think there's 2 videos, and the second one we're going to shorten a little bit, but cool. I'll talk about microaggressions. Microaggressions are more than just insults or insensitive comments. They're pretty specific. They're the kind of remarks or questions or actions that are painful because they have to do with the person's membership in the group that's discriminated against or subject to stereotypes. And a key part of what makes them so disconcerting is that they happen casually, frequently, and often without any harm intended. They just happen, and we need to try our best to be aware of these, to understand what they are, to be aware, and to do our best to avoid them. And Liz, will we be watching this whole video?
Yes, let's go ahead and watch this first video.
Great. Thank you.
The
Maya, I
audio
don't.
is not working.
Okay, let me troubleshoot for a second.
Cool. While Maya is troubleshooting, are there any questions or any comments up to this point? There will, of course, be time at the end as well, but great. So Maya, yeah, it does have subtitles, so if sound isn't a thing, we can do our best to try to read.
And if we can't manage to get the audio working, they are also available on the paddle team port or on the volunteer portal. So, and I'll be showing you where that lives in a little bit.
Is that working?
Not quite.
No.
There was
Okay.
Maximo in the chat said, when you share screen, you often have a checkbox to share computer audio. So maybe it's an
Do
unshared
you want me to go
screen.
through with the subtitles, Liz, or just have people watch it on their own?
One moment.
Are you hearing me okay?
Yes. Hmm. I have
Yeah, usually if you unshare the screen and then you go back to reshare it again, you might get that share the audio thing that he was talking about.
Did you hear that, Maya?
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Maya.
Okay. Now I can't hear you for some reason.
I would say maybe we just continue to move along.
Yeah, we'll skip the video and I'll show you where this lives on the volunteer portal. That way you can watch it on your own time. I really would ask that I can't prove whether or not you've watched the video, but ask that you do watch the video on your own time. That way you can get more informed on some of these subjects that we are discussing. Um, and there's this one video, and then if we move to the next slide, there's a second video. So in your free time, after I show you where you can find this information, please watch it at your earliest convenience.
Great. We will continue on. We can leave it here, Maya. Thank you. Awesome. So harassment and discrimination policies. So just going off of information on the microaggressions and harassment, we do require all paddle team volunteers to sign our paddle team agreement. It's essentially stating our safety and illness protocols, as well as any lawful harassment and discrimination protocols. Next slide, please, Maya. Awesome. Additionally, we do require a Portland Parks and Rec background check. This is required because we work with schools. We work with Portland Parks and Rec groups, and we also work with other youth-focused nonprofits and groups. So I'm sure you'll know, but anytime you work with youth, we need a background check just to make sure everything is safe and sound. As a reminder, this is required every year. You can complete these prior to the in-person training. A staff member will drop a link in the chat right about now. If not, we'll get that to you shortly. Or if you don't have time to do it before the in-person training, you're welcome to fill it out at the training. They just need to be completed and approved prior to your first volunteer shift. These forms are also available on our website. So if we get it to you in the chat and say the chat closes, we can find them on the website, or you can reach out directly to Liz or myself and we can share it with you all as well. Once these forms, well, you'll have a pending status as a volunteer until a background check is completed. You'll be officially cleared when you receive a clearance email from Liz or myself. So just keep your eyes out for that. And the W-9 there, that is, again, if you become a paddle team leader or you become a multilingual volunteer, there's possibilities for stipends. So there might be a W-9 form in potentially someone's future as well. Sweet. And I think Liz just dropped the, is that the background check in there?
Yes, that is a background check.
Cool. So Liz, just as a reminder, background check is free, and once they're done, they send it to us.
Yes, that is correct. And
Cool.
none of your personal and private information will be shared with anyone besides Portland Parks volunteer staff who verify the information and myself and said.
Cool. So that is all I have for the fun of what I'm speaking on. I will pass it back to Liz.
Woohoo! Now here we go and talking about the paddle team portal. So our paddle team portal, this is going to also be the last portion of the presentation, and we're moving through it so fast. So I'm going to try to take my time through this portion. If you need me to go back on something, slow down, please let me know, and I'll make sure that we cover these sections appropriately. Um, So you can expect to be able to access our paddle team portal. A brief example is what's shown in the slide here. In order to access that, and I'll show you all this, there is a section on our website that you go to, and I've made it a little bit easier to access that information. In the past, it's been multiple buttons and you had to click through a lot of things to access it, which it's still available that way for paddle team volunteers that have previous experience using that format. But there's a new way to access some of this information. So you'll find a calendar with your volunteer shifts that you can sign up for. Different volunteer opportunities that you can sign up for, whether that be cleanups. There was recently a bike and bird event, and upcoming we have cycle well fields that we need volunteers for. So lots of different volunteer opportunities, and those can all be found on the paddle team calendar. We also have a resource library that will include the volunteer handbook, videos, information on just general boat knowledge and other amazing information. You can also find the the recorded version of this webinar after this is done on that site, as well as if you need a Spanish version, there's a Spanish version available on the site as well. And so I will start to share my screen so you can see what that will look like. Beautiful. Okay. So on my screen here, you should all be able to see we have our website. This website is just the opening page of it. From here, we have this beautiful button that says Get Involved. We go to Get Involved, and then there's all these amazing drop downs. Under the Get Involved section, we go to Volunteer. My new amazing button that gives you easy access is this volunteer portal and calendar. This has not been there in the past, but now instead of clicking through all these different pages, you get this one click or two clicks to access that information. In the past, paddle team volunteers would go down to this section that says paddle team, click learn more, and then it would take them to this page. And then from here, they would have to scroll all the way down past all this amazing information and click over here that says Paddle Team Portal. And then that would take them to this page. And it's a lot of clicks, and that can be confusing and hard to remember. And then when you're on this page, you'll have access to the Paddle Team calendar, how to use it, how to fill out the background form, the resource library that I mentioned, so the paddle team handbook or volunteer handbook, past versions of the webinar, our paddle team leader job description. So if you're curious and want to learn more about what that looks like, you can access that information here. A map of the different natural areas and boat launches and other recreational areas within the city, and other resources such as basic canoe parts, paddling information, Spanish canoe, vocabulary interpreter list if you want to practice some fun words that you might not know in Spanish. It helps me a lot. And then I have an ACA resource library that I've added here. This provides more information on paddling safe in the water, specifically in larger rivers and lakes, but a lot of the information still can be applied to what we do. So yeah, if you go to the paddle team calendar, this is where it would be. You would hit paddle team calendar. And then it would take you to the screen that says password. This password is password protected so that not everyone in the community can just go and sign up to volunteer for our paddles. As you are going through these different trainings and going through the background process, it would make that if anyone could come into here and just sign up for whatever volunteer opportunity, it would make that all useless. So for the season, we have a simple password. It's always simple. It's always the year that we're in. To make it easy, we don't need you having to remember another password on top of the hundreds of passwords your brain's already probably holding on to. And then here we have our beautiful paddle team calendar. At the moment, you can see some of the events that are on here. There's going to be plenty more events on this calendar, and at the moment, we just have a few. If I scroll forward, it might look a little empty, but you'll see that we have the in-person training that I really hope I see your name on that registration because I want you there. I want everyone on this call to be there. And if you can't make that, we will have our buddy shifts available. But that in-person training is really a special treat where you get to know other paddle team volunteers, get to have lunch with us that we provide, get to learn the ins and outs, see the office, and just have, yeah, a more one-on-one hands-on experience with staff, volunteers, and Whitaker Bonds. Yeah, the rest of the calendar is kind of blank, but the more are coming. There's going to be so many more opportunities on there. I have a few on there as well. Some opportunities such as tabling with us. I have a Leatherman tabling event that we're going to do cleanup and planting. We have paddles. We have the bike and bird, which passed. And then tonight we're on the online paddle team webinar. To give you an example of how to sign up for one of these, so when you get to the paddle team calendar page and you've signed in, you'll click on a date or click through a whole bunch of different dates and select one that works for you. On every on every page, there is information about the event, who we're partnering with. This one is just a Columbia SLU opportunity, so no partners are on this one except for our amazing Slavic community group who's going to be supporting us. Thank you, Vlad and Laura. So we have all this information on all of our paddles. We always provide how to get there if you are using public transit, parking information, what to bring, and information on what we will be providing. Once you figured out that you're like, I think that time works for me, I think that date works for me, you can scroll down to the register button, register here, it'll take you to a whole new page. I'm curious, is that page popping up for folks? The registration page. Awesome, perfect. So once you're here, you will see the information about the date that the opportunity is at, more information, what the ticket is, and sometimes we'll provide details or multiple ticket options. So that might look like if we need a land volunteer or we need a volunteer to co-captain and captain, those different tickets will be available. Sometimes we also ask folks to bring their own boats. So you're always welcome to email Seth or I if you want to participate as a volunteer in a paddle and want to bring your own boat. Or just come on and join us as a volunteer and hop in one of our boats. From here, you just select add. You can only add, oh, you can add two, it looks like. If you want to bring some friends with you, bring them. Most of the time, you can only add one ticket because we don't want folks signing up someone else that isn't necessarily a volunteer. From there, you go ahead and complete the registration. This has a lot more information in it than a usual registration would have. Because we are providing food, I would like to know people's dietary restrictions, if they're returning or if they're new, and if they need interpretation for the training. But usually it just asks you for your first name, last name, and email, sometimes a phone number as well. And then on the bottom, if you're not already registered on our Paddle Team newsletter, it will have this button or the box checked if you want to receive the Paddle Team newsletter. From here, oh, because I haven't clicked on, fine, I'll enter all my information. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not fluent. Sometimes I even say I'm not fluent in English either. Moving forward. Awesome. Boom. Registration is complete. And so that's what it looks like. You'll receive a message thanking you for your registration. Afterwards, as we get closer to the date, you'll also receive information that asks or that reminds you that the event is coming up and what you'll need for that event or how to prepare. Or if we have to cancel, you'll also receive a cancellation email at least 24 hours in advance. And I think that's it for that portion. To quickly show you what the other button looks like, I'll do that too. So I was telling staff earlier this week, I have soft launched my volunteer portal. So you can click on that button and then it brings you to this page. From this page, you can see a welcome message, how to access the background check form, the volunteer handbook, how to contact me, information how to do that, and then calendars. On the far right side, we have the community events calendar. So if you want to know just like what's coming up in the future for just general events, I have added this here. If you want to volunteer with us, we have the volunteer calendar on the left-hand side. At the moment, I have just the Paddle Team calendar. For SLU School, I have also created a calendar that will have SLU School opportunities. So if that's something that you want to participate in, you'll be able to find that information on here as well. We are always looking for more SLU School volunteers outside of paddles. So if you would like to participate and join us on field trips, please reach out. And then this button takes you back to that original page that I showed you. And then this button takes you to that Paddle Team portal that also has the calendar and resource library. Then, since we weren't able to access the videos that I would like you to watch at your earliest convenience are going to be located here on this page. We have one on microaggressions, another on microaggressions, just two different perspectives on what that looks like, and then another one talking about how to be an inclusive ally. So when you can, please take time to watch those. And that is that information. I think the next thing I wanted to tell you about is our paddle team communications regarding I believe it is newsletters, paddle team newsletters. What an important piece. So you'll be, and Maya, if you could reshare your screen with the presentation, I'd love that.
There we go.
Yay! So our main line of communication for you to know what events are coming up are our bi-weekly newsletters. Some of you might have already started seeing these come through your email, and that's because you have completed your background check and your volunteer handbook, or you're in the process and you've sent to me one or the other. And so I appreciate you for that, and I hope it gives you some insight on kind of the events coming up and ways you can participate. We also include different highlights. And I don't know if folks can see in the picture, but it says council highlights, and under that, I'm thinking about the future. It talks about this webinar and how successful it was. So thank you for being a part of that. And then below that, it will have paddle updates, such as things that are new with the council or new with the paddle program. And under that, it will have the different lineup of events. I send these out bi-weekly. It might feel like a lot, but I try to make sure that I put everything in there. And sometimes, because we have so many events during a season, we have cancellations or we have urgent needs. Sometimes folks might not be able to sign up and then they want to come back to see what is important and how much how much we need volunteers. So you'll see an urgent need next to some of the opportunities, and that means we really need folks to participate and join us on our volunteer events. And so that I think there might be one or two that you receive tomorrow that say urgent need because we have some events coming up that I need more support with. And it also includes how to reach out to Seth and I. Feel free to reach out to us whenever you need. We are always here to support you and provide you with answers and questions. And if you're ever uncomfortable reaching out to one of us, you can reach out to the other. Or if you don't feel comfortable reaching out to either one of us, you can always go to Amanda Gallegos, our executive director, who recently moved her role from event director, which is now said, to our executive director. Yeah, if you have not been added to the Paddle Team newsletter yet, you will be added as soon as I start receiving your background check clearance from Portland Parks and or your volunteer handbook. All right, next we can talk. What else can I talk to you about? Yes, what is next? So, if you haven't already, like I've already mentioned, please sign the paddle team / volunteer handbook agreement. This is required, as well as our Portland Parks and background check form. These documents are available on the website, like I've shown. The volunteer agreement needs to be signed, reviewed, signed, and emailed back to me, or whatever method is easiest for you. And then the Portland Parks background check, once you submit that, you don't necessarily need to send me a screenshot. If you have, that's great. It gives me more information, and I know when to expect it from Portland Parks. If you have, if you're just wanting to let me know, that's totally fine. Portland Parks, when you're cleared, will let me know that you have been cleared. And then I'll email you that you have been approved to volunteer with us. And some folks might have started seeing those emails come through. Again, they're required per our agreements with certain schools, community organizations, and that we partner with. Until I receive those, you'll be pending as a volunteer. And once you are officially cleared, you'll receive an email from me. And then finally, please sign up for a training. Sign up for the in-person training May 3rd. It's an all-day event, but it's really fun. We will provide you with snacks and coffee and drinks in the morning and throughout the day. We have bathrooms on site, and we'll have a fresh, clean porta potty if the bathroom is full. We'll have a lunch in the afternoon for us to take a lunch break. We'll get on the water and put all the information that we learned together. And so I really hope to see everyone out there with us today. that are with us today out there. And if you can't, that's okay. There's always opportunities for our buddy shifts in the future. So if you can't, feel free to look at a buddy shift on the calendar. If a buddy shift doesn't work out, come to said and we can arrange something that works for all of our schedules. Next slide. Beautiful. I haven't exactly put together any CPR and first aid training dates, but as a paddle team volunteer, you are eligible. You are the first eligible participants to attend a free CPR first aid training. It says training is conducted by a certified instructor. That certified instructor is me. So you will only be seeing me for all these amazing events, but also for your trainings. Any training that we do, it is provided free and I will be there. Um, and so if you want that opportunity, just keep your eye out on the paddle team calendar and I'm still putting on my dates and getting those all figured out, but I am assuming June 26th will be one of them and then we'll have another one in September. All right, and the last slide basically. And we've bulldoze through this. So if any questions are in the chat, I'll look through them. If anyone didn't ask a question in the chat and wants to now, please do. Or you are welcome to come off mute and ask your question.
Hey Liz, I've been trying to answer some questions in the chat, but I noticed I don't know the person labeled as iPhone and Samantha are asking or stating, how do you sign up for SLU School? I would like to help with school trips.
I love that question. For SLU School field trips, please reach out to me via email and I can put you on our SLU School list, which will have monthly updates about what trips are coming up.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. I'm definitely in on that. So give me something to do.
Awesome. Yeah, we always need amazing volunteers willing to just be outside, help the kiddos out. And sometimes we're just walking around places with them, or sometimes we're doing activities with them. It all depends on their grade level and how engaged they are. Sometimes students these days have a hard time just focusing and sitting and going through the whole program. So it's like it's nice to just be able to have them be outside and sometimes run around or get their hands dirty. And so, yeah, we always need volunteers for that. So, yeah, let me know via email.
I'll email you too. This is Judy.
Yay, thank you, Judy.
I know you already hyped it up, but SLU School is really fun. But my question is the buddy paddle on like May 20th is already full, or 23rd is already full. Is there any after that that are available, or is there a way to sign up still?
I can follow up with you on that, Bodhi. I would essentially, with the buddy shifts, we usually do one slot per buddy shift because we need.
Oh, is that not okay? I guess I'm confused about like what the group are like in-person training, or how we're gonna know more information about when that is. That's like visible.
So let's see. The in-person training is May 3rd. I can send you this. I'll put the link in the chat right now. I guess maybe I'm not understanding your question entirely.
Yeah, like here, like the set agenda for the training on the 3rd, or
Are
Yeah.
you
Are we going to
okay?
get more information about that? I
Yes,
guess.
I can share more information about that. You'll receive information about that via email.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
So just because I was talking briefly about buddy shifts, um, buddy shifts, when we post those, we usually only allow one slot because we essentially need a paddle team leader to also be there to help train. It's like on the job training, so to speak. So it takes a few coordination pieces to be like, okay, can we get a leader there? And uh, it also we award the paddle team leader, a stipend for doing the on the job training. So there's a budgeting piece there too to see like, how many buddy shifts can we allow within a certain time frame because of cash flow type of thing. So, but just because there's only one in, this is what I thought you were asking, Bodhi. I thought you were asking if maybe there could be two for that May 23rd date. And I think if there's ever a point anybody feels as if they want to join a buddy shift, but it's already full, reach out to me and I can crunch the numbers and see if we can allow one. And then we'll work with Liz and the paddle team volunteers to see if we can get a second paddle team leader there. And I think that's what I got. Hopefully that clears any confusion up around that.
So you're saying this, Judy. So you're saying you'd be the person to check with on that.
I am the person to check with
Okay.
on buddy shifts. Yes.
Okay.
Liz, how do you win, or any tips and tricks for winning a golden paddle?
A great question, Mike. For those who don't know what a golden paddle is, we have during our end of the year volunteer appreciation, which is typically in the fall, to celebrate all your amazing events and all your amazingness for helping us throughout the whole season. We award volunteers with what I call a golden paddle. In the past year, we also implemented a golden I Hold Your World Up award. And it's a little tiny metal award that has two people, or that has yeah, I think two or one person holding a globe. And these awards are given to volunteers that have shown major dedication throughout the season and throughout previous seasons. And it doesn't have to be previous seasons, but sometimes that is a plus. It is sometimes related to the number of paddles that you've participated in and the hours that you've put into supporting us. It can also go to folks that have really shown a dedication to supporting and encouraging people on the water and just providing um, an extra piece of encouragement and friendliness and really stood out and shone bright. And I either hear from community members about how great you are, and I'm like, I think I want to recognize that. Or if you help us throughout the season or have helped us in the past with anything from paddles to gear maintenance to even outside of paddles, tabling events and slough school opportunities, just different ways that you volunteer with us, support us in and outside of paddles, and how you express yourself during paddles and are uh, showing kindness and encouragement to community groups.
Great. Any other questions? Anything we can clear up? Any confusions or questions?
Yeah, this is really cool. I'm super excited.
You.
Yes, super excited.
Yay!
That's awesome.
I hope
Um,
everyone is excited as well. I'm always excited. Yeah.
great.
You'll
Excellent.
hear me talk on and on about how awesome you are and how I appreciate you and how fun everything is. And throughout the season, we'll have different ways to honor and celebrate and show our gratitude, whether that be, I'm hoping for just not a community, a volunteer paddle to all of us or some of us get out on the water together to just hang out, learn more about each other. um, there's raffle opportunities which we'll have throughout sprinkled throughout the season and towards the end of the season to if we want to celebrate you. You'll have an opportunity to get a free raffle ticket, and there will be different raffle prizes that we select from, and a number of volunteers might get a new cool thing to play with or to have on your travels. Uh,
As you all see our our contacts, I would encourage you to save our phone numbers, save our emails, especially day of events. You know, there may be something that life happens and you need to call us or text us or whatever it is. So, uh, yeah, save the contacts if you have the time. I would also say if of course, we can continue to still go through questions, but if there is anything from the existing volunteers or the existing paddle team leaders, they have any, I guess, closing remarks or anything they want to add on, I would definitely welcome that. I think I know I shared my piece of it all, but I think, just kind of tapping back into it, like what Ed was saying, there's so much history, there's so much knowledge in the North Portland, Northeast, the slough. And I've been here for 2 months and I've been learning so much just from the history of the folks participating. There's been volunteers that are here longer than we've been there, so there's a lot of knowledge and skills to be passed around. So I definitely appreciate it.
Is there any like anything you can watch or anything that talks about like the history of the slough, how it all came to, anything like that?
That is a great question. I think we have a OPB video that gives a little insight of this history of the slough and who the council is and what we do. It's not necessarily a full video that talks about all the history, but it has a little insight. And I think I might have to defer to Maya on that one. I'm not sure if that one's located on our website or how to access that one, but it's a OPB video of the council.
Yep, it lives on our website. There's a rotating like slides on the front page of our website, and if you click on the one that describes that OPB, it'll bring you right to the video.
And then on the website, we have, there's so many different tabs, but there's one that talks about the council's history, the watershed history, and the different partners that we've worked with throughout the many of years that we've been a council, and how every single partner and agency has worked together to make the slough a better place for community recreation, and wildlife. And if there's no more questions,
I
I'm
just wanted
gonna.
to add that under the on the website, under Explore, there is a guide. You
Yes.
can go through there, and it's in multiple languages.
Yeah, our Explore section is the section that you'll find a lot of good information about.
And Liz, I wonder if I could put in a mention. If you want to learn more about the slough, there's an excellent book that came out, I guess, 3 years ago, called "This Rough Magic," at home on the Columbia Slough that gives not only the history but also pieces of current events. It's written by a couple who live. There's an offshoot of the Columbia Slough called Buffalo Slough, and they bought a house 20 or so years ago on the Buffalo Slough, and so the book is the story of that. But they're also educators and environmental activists. So each chapter is a self-contained essay about different aspects of the slough. They're both excellent writers, and they actually alternate writing the chapters, which is pretty cool because you get two different voices throughout the book. But again, it's called This Rough Magic. Multnomah County Library has many copies of it.
And it looks like Maya just put the OPB field guide, a link that I was
Excellent.
talking about
Yes.
in the chat. All right, it is almost 7:30. That means we have finished 30 minutes early. And so I get to give you back 30 minutes into your evening in your life. If you have any last comments or questions, you can email Seth and I or email us individually if you need to stay on and want to talk to us separately. You can do that. From now, you can go ahead, log off, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And I look forward to seeing you in the